Hi Sagittarius, welcome to Stardust Astrology. This is your monthly forecast for November 2016, and this is going to apply mostly if you have your Ascendant or Moon in Sagittarius, to a bit lesser degree if your Sun is in Sagittarius. You can even watch this video if your Aruda Lagna is in Sagittarius, in which case this is going to describe what the world around you sees about you this month. And also if your Atma Karaka is in Sagittarius, in which case you are going to feel this very personally. I'm using Vedic Sidereal positions, which means that we are currently going through the month of Libra, not Scorpio. Scorpio is how it is calculated in Western astrology by Vedic Sidereal positions. Since the 17th of October, the Sun has entered the constellation of Libra. So by entering Libra, Sun has entered your 11th house, which rules large social circles, big organizations, huge groups that you meet when you're working with multinational companies, for example, or any other huge organization. It rules your networking, all those people that you know, any big group of people where you don't have relationships which are one-on-one, but like dealing with or socializing with a larger group of people. And wherever Sun goes, Sun illuminates this area of your chart, or anybody's chart. So for you guys, starting from the middle of October, there will be a lot of your energy invested in social networking, maybe meeting new people, maybe investing your energy in your acquaintances that you already know. This can actually be very good for business, but then your personal relationships, if you have personal friendships with where you guys hang around in large groups, they could suffer a bit because of this position of Sun in Libra. Sun does not feel very comfortable in Libra. This house is also related to our dreams and hopes and wishes and big projects, big money, anything big is happening in the 11th house. And Sun also rules your 9th house, which is in Leo. Sun governs Leo. And if you see this black symbol in your 9th house, it is the symbol for Rahu, the planet which has been transiting your 9th house since the beginning of 2016, moving you guys towards either a new set of belief systems, which could be a bit rebellious at the moment, either towards cooperation with foreigners or a lot of traveling to foreign countries, maybe gaining some higher education. And all of that is during this period of time moving to your 11th house. Or to be more precise, now who tells what is Rahu going to do in the 9th house? The Sun does, because Sun rules him, right? And the Sun is moving to your 11th house, which means that there could be a lot of networking with strangers. If you are in any kind of academic studies or connected to the people from universities, this could be the time when you hang a lot with them. Now, a little bit of care is needed while the Sun is transiting Libra, because there could be power struggles with these kinds of positions in your chart at the moment. They could be about your belief systems or your religious convictions, or stuff which are very important to Sagittarius, right? Sagittarius always wants to do the righteous things. They have very strong beliefs, and this could be the time when there are some clashes with your social circles around this. So just this is something that you might want to be careful about. And this is all happening in the second half of October. So this is the energy that we already have when entering into November. Now, since this is the first forecast that I'm doing for you guys, I feel the need to cover the long-term transit which influences you the most, and this is Jupiter in Virgo. Jupiter entered Virgo in August this year, and it is going to stay there until September 2017, which is 13 months. And Jupiter rules you guys, and he is now transiting your 10th house. So when the planet which rules your first house, which is you, your place in the world, your life, how you manage your life, goes into the 10th house of your social status, of your reputation, of your work environment, it means that you will be putting a lot of focus into this area of your life during this time period that I just described. Besides ruling your first house, Jupiter also rules your fourth house. And the fourth house is the house of home, of happiness, of that peace of mind. When for Sagittarius ascendant, since Jupiter rules both their first and their fourth house, they tend to identify with these things a lot. So Sagittarius usually, whatever they do, they put their heart in that. And during this long-term transit through Virgo, Sagittarius is going to put their heart into their career, social status, standing in the society, maybe some new developments at your working environment. This month particularly, Jupiter is transiting through a part of Virgo which is called Hasta. Hasta is the name of one of the 27 nakshatras, stellar constellations that are operating behind the zodiac signs. And Hasta has this special ability to take what you want and place it in your hands, but it usually happens through some initial struggle and resistance and a little bit of frustration. So if you're feeling, and if you have been feeling some kind of stuckness and resistance and frustration in the matters of your career, it could be that at the beginning of October you were able to see some new developments there, or tried to develop something new, but as I said, there was some initial frustration maybe and resistance at your working environment. Now in October, this could be the month when you see some of the results. If you started doing anything new career related during the month of October, November could also bring you guys new gains. If you changed the job during October, November could be the month when you start some kind of a new big project, okay? This is all happening because we are having a new moon in Libra, which is your 11th house, on the 30th of October. And wherever we have a new moon, it marks the areas of our life where we can expect new developments in the next at least 28 days, and especially the first 14 days after the new moon. Now, this is very useful to know, because if you know where to direct your energies during the first weeks of October, you can have much better results, right? Better than to waste it somewhere else. And well, believe it or not, our development has actually nothing to do with the human-made calendar and everything to do with the lunar cycles. Whenever you want to create something new and start anything new at whatever area of your life, you need to employ both your lunar and your solar energies there. Lunar energies rule our feminine energies, and Solar energies are actually our masculine energies. When those two come together, well, the new life is created, and during November, a new life is being created in your 11th house. So, um, it could be that really this month brings you some gains, because for the past 6 weeks, apart from Jupiter being in your 10th house, Mars was transiting your first house. And Mars in the first house for 6 weeks gives you the energy to go after those achievements that you want. It was ruled by Jupiter in your 10th house, so most likely all of your efforts, or most of your efforts, were directed towards your career or social status. Um, Now, with this new moon in the 11th, as I said, you could see some new gains or start some new projects. It is also possible that you might join a new group or some new organization. If you have your own company or have started your own company, you could see some money coming in this month with Jupiter in the 10th, ruling your first and fourth. As I said, you put a lot of heart in your career. In the past 6 weeks, you have been putting a lot of energy into your career. So you could see some promotions, especially if your new job or the new post is going to be somewhere abroad, or you work for a multinational company. Why? Because this new moon is ruled by two planets. First, because it is in the sign of Libra, it is ruled by Venus, and Venus is currently transiting your 12th house. And then it is ruled by Rahu, because it is happening in the nakshatra of Swati, which is ruled in Rahu, and Rahu is transiting your 9th house. Now, with both 12th and 9th house being triggered, it points to a very strong possibilities of foreign countries being involved in this somehow. Also, if you guys are working for some kind of charity organization, with 11th house of organizations being triggered and the Venus ruling it in the 12th, it could be the month to start a new project related to that, or to join some kind of charity organization. For those of you guys who are maybe teachers, this could be a great time to start some kind of new research. It can maybe be a big new research project with these kinds of positions. It could also be some kind of new project that you start in secrecy, because 12th house is kind of a hidden place. With this kind of position, you could even join some kind of secret society, for those of you guys who are interested in something like that. Now let's see what will the character of this new moon be. Now, together with the sun and moon, you see the little green guy, and this is Mercury. He's conjuncting this new moon in Swati, and Mercury for you guys rules houses 7 and 10, which may point to some new business partnerships. You could literally start a large project with a business partner. Again, it can have to do with foreign countries. Again, it could be something that you start in secrecy. It could even be joining a spiritual organization or a group. For those of you guys who are into, let's say, social experiments, social research, this can also be a good month to do that. Yeah, that's about it with this new moon. Also, for those of you guys who are lecturers, any kind of lecturers, teachers, professors, gurus, this can be a great month to give speeches to large groups of people. Now, one thing about Swati Nakshatra is that the things that start in this nakshatra can have a bit unstable roots and beginnings. Maybe you start them with partners who are you don't think that they are very, let's say, safe, or they don't seem to be someone who is stable or focused, or it is project that somehow starts by being vaguely defined. Swati Nakshatra rules those people who they appreciate their freedom a lot. They like to, roam around. They do not put roots easily, but this nakshatra has a great potential to grow into something stable during time. And with Venus being one of the rulers of this new moon, and Venus is conjuncting Saturn in the 12th house, well, this to me points to something that really has a long-term potential, although it might not start by, it may start and seem like something not serious, not stable enough. If you are thinking about donating something or doing some social work, this could be a great month to do that. Saturn has been transiting your 12th house for 2 years now. And when Saturn goes into the 12th house, you can feel a bit secluded or isolated, from the world, maybe locked in some kind of locked in a room and doing some kind of research, or just being less social. And this is the influence that has been going on for 2 years now, and it might have as well brought a lot of endings to your life, which is a good thing. Saturn brings this kind of energy when you realize the things that have naturally reached their expiry date, right? Relationships which are now fruitless or pointless, and you don't want to continue them. With this kind of energy in your 12th house, you become aware of these things, and it's a great transit for clearing things. So just give away whatever you don't need. Give away whatever is taken away from you now. Don't regret it. When Venus, who rules your 6th and your 11th house, joins Saturn during November, it might be time when you want to, let's say, donate a part of your gains. Okay? If you feel like doing that, do that. It's a good time to use those energies that way. Again, Swati Nakshatra is a great nakshatra for spreading information. So anything new that you start this month, or it doesn't even have to be new, it could be something that you have already started, and you need to spread the word, okay? Whatever that is in your life at the moment that you want to spread the word about, your social network will be very supportive of that now. Your social network can help spread the word. But again, with this kind of position, with Venus in your 12th house, ruling this new moon in the 11th, for some of you guys, it can happen that, your social circles could be gossiping a bit behind your back. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens. It happens to all of us at some point. This is a good month to gossip behind the back of Sagittarius. Now I'm joking. It's not that I'm recommending anyone to do anything like that. I'm just telling you guys that it's possible. If you want to do something for or with your partner this month, it can be a great time to take them out to, let's say, a concert or something. With Swati, I think we will have a lot of great concerts available with that being activated. Also for you guys whose partners are in any kind of artistic field, this could be the time when they are putting out, showcasing their talents, or putting out some kind of creative skills out in the open. Let's say if your partner is a musician or an actor, this can be a month when they are in the spotlight and will need your support for that. And what is also possible for those of you guys who are trying to get pregnant, especially if you're a Sagittarius man, this could be the month when your wife gets pregnant or you find out that she's pregnant. Okay, because the 11th house, when the 11th house is activating, 11th house is fifth from the 7th, and also your 7th house ruler will be there with this new moon. So I can see something like this. It can easily happen. Now, whatever you start on this new moon, make sure you start it between the 1st and the 13th of November, because on the 14th of November we are going to have the full moon, and things are best started in the first 2 weeks after the new moon. After the full moon, on the full moon we have culminations, and after that things are calming down. So make sure you use the first 2 energies of November to start things. I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of your reading, but November is the month when all of the planets are moving direct for all of us. It just depends which areas of our life are affected, and they are all placed on one side of Rahu Ketu axis. For you guys, they're activating your social houses and houses that have to do with other people and things that do not depend only on you. So this is the time period when your energies are best invested there. I believe that Mars in your first house gave you a lot of energy in the past 6 weeks to invest in your career, in earning money, in expanding your social circles, and maybe preparing something new, which is still done in privacy, not revealed to the world, right? It's only logical. Whenever we start something new, we don't normally go bragging about it all around. We wait for things to let's say grow and develop a little bit, and then we do that. Okay, now as soon as this new moon takes place, Mars is leaving your first house and going to your second house in Capricorn, and now you have Mars in your second house ruled by Saturn in the 12th, and Saturn in the 12th ruled by Mars in the 2nd. They have exchanged places, which means that these two guys are now working together and supporting each other. This could be the time for those of you who are speakers to be very authoritative when you speak. But at the same time, you might find that speaking is maybe fruitless, or at least to say exhausting at this time. It is also a time when you will most probably direct your energies to budget and restrict your expenses. If the new moon in the 11th house brings you some gains, then Mars in the 2nd and Venus in the 12th can easily spend them. It can also be the time when you have to deal with your family issues, like make some changes there, fix something that maybe was neglected, because I think with Saturn, who rules your second house in the 12th house, it is very possible that there have been some issues with family in the past 2 years, or maybe something that you've been neglecting because it was too exhausting, okay? And also at this time, dealing with family issues can prove to be very exhausting, but at least there will be energetic support to something like this. If you guys are involved in any kind of creative endeavors, there could be money coming from that, because Mars rules your fifth house. So if you are an artist or singer, musician, even running any kind of speculative business, there could be money coming from that. But also there could be this could be the time period when you have to spend money on your children, okay, either for their education or I don't know, whatever reason. It could be the time when you spend more money on your children. If you are into politics or sports or politics, sports, then let's say education, entertainment industry, events management, there could be money coming from these fields. If you're if you're a broker or dealing with stock markets, anyhow, be careful. This is the time to be careful, because there could be money coming in, but there could also be losses. I would, if I want to invest in this time, I would consult somebody seriously before doing that. If you are if you're a doctor, or let's say any kind of healer, then this can be a great time for financial gains. Also for people who are into any kind of research, it is an exceptionally good period. If you give any public speeches this month, you will be that kind of, they will be motivational kind of speeches or lectures. They will be able to set the crowd on fire, but they could be very innovative with Rahu transiting your ninth house together with this Mars in the second. You will probably be lecturing to large groups of people. It is also possible that you will travel abroad to give a lecture. Yet with all those planets in your 12th house, you could be feeling tired. There is a huge possibility of traveling here, but also feeling tired and exhausted, because Saturn in your 12th house is now being joined by Mercury starting from the 9th of November, also by Sun starting from the 16th of November. That's 3 planets in the 12th house, and 12th house is where we waste our energy. You give your energy away without expecting to get anything in return, and you usually do not get anything in return. Now, on the 1st of, the 7th of November, Venus is entering Sagittarius, your first house. And Venus rules your houses 11 and 6, which are both houses of money, right? Money from your own work. If you are working with strangers, with multinational companies, if you are looking for some funds from, let's say, research institutes or funds for research projects, it could be the time when you get that. But be careful, because Venus also rules your 6th house, which can bring about either diseases or stress. Tension is higher, and this Venus in your 1st house is going to be a bit smashed between the Saturn in the second and the Mars in the second and Saturn in the 12th. This is not going to be the influence that you feel strongly during the whole month, but during one time period during November, your immune system could be a bit lower, okay? As I already said, your 12th house is full. It might be that you are tired and feel that the things that you are doing at this time are not giving some, I don't know, great results. So with the Mars in the second, ruled by this Saturn in the 12th, the work could feel draining. Earning money can feel draining. You still go and do it and you still make it, but it's a bit draining. It's easier if you are in a, I don't know, medical field or research or a lab or some kind of work that is done, let's say in privacy, in behind the closed doors, in seclusion, you know, those kinds of works like in hospitals or asylums or charity, as I said, or abroad. Then this can be a more productive time. But if you are not into anything like that, then let's say your immune system, I would take care of immune system at this time period, okay? Now, as I've already said, this Saturn in the 12th house finishes things. Saturn rules for you guys houses 2 and 3, and house 3 rules your personal desires and efforts that we put in the things that are something that is important to us, and we don't care what anybody else thinks about that, right? Now, Ketu is transiting there. It started transiting your 3rd house in January 2016, meaning that this area is not making any progress at this time period. If it's ruled by the Saturn from your 12th house, it can mean that the efforts that you are putting in the desires that you have for yourself are somehow draining. Also, with the planet who rules your 2nd house going into the 12th, family could feel draining. With this position, it can also be that your money has been a bit blocked in the last 2 years, you know, money coming in, money going out. Depending on your personal chart, this can feel a little bit like living on the minimum and feeling like living in some kind of isolation, not being very social. Now, this has been happening for 2 years now. Now this influence is intensified during November because of the stellium of planets that we are having there in the 12th house. So again, this is the time to, especially the second half of November, is the time to rest, to finish things, to think about maybe some new things that you want to start in, let's say, 2 or 3 months, because in December we are going to have a new moon here in your 12th house, and this new moon is going to mark the last lunar cycle of this isolation period for you guys, because in January Saturn is moving to Sagittarius. This is your 1st house, and we are going to have a new moon in Sagittarius, again 1st house. So there will be a lot of focus on you. You will want to start new things. You will want to take on new responsibilities. even if you don't want, you will probably be forced somehow by circumstances. If you are still feeling a little bit isolated during this period, just use it to rest, okay? There will be, this is like the last time cycle that you are spending in that isolating, draining energies. Now, the last influence that we have in November is the full moon, which is going to happen on November the 14th in Aries, the last degrees of Aries, and thus fall in your 5th house and very close to your 6th house. And this new moon is happening in a nakshatra called Kritika, the part of Kritika which is placed in Aries, which means that it is ruled by both Mars and Sun. Now, at this point, Mars is in your 2nd house, Sun is in your 12th house, and this again points to balancing between earning the money and spending the money. If you are in any kind of creative or speculative business, it can point to a time where you have to make a quick decision regarding your children. It can also be the time that throws you guys into the spotlight. If the beginning of November and the first half of November you were concentrated on expanding your social circle, now this could be the time when you are at the spotlight, and since it is at the last degrees of your 5th house, it is going to partially illuminate the 6th house as well. So it could be the time when if you have expanded your social circle or started a new project, now you're in the spotlight and it's going to help your work, something that you do every day. This can also, for some of you guys, be that moment of fame, which brings money, since Mars is in the 2nd house. And well, that's about it, I think, for the month of November. After this full moon on the 14th, you are going to feel that the energies are slowly calming down. You will still have a strong 12th house influence, which will be a time to either travel or rest or do some kind of research. Yes, you will still have a lot of things to do, but somehow all of the energies that were available for us there in November are now calming down slowly. The peak is over in the 2nd half of November, and it's not a good time to start new things. Okay, the next lunar cycle is starting on the 29th of November, so it's going to carry over to the whole of December. It's going to happen in your 12th house and trigger probably the last cycle of endings, feeling like being in the isolation. Maybe some of you guys will travel somewhere. We will cover that in much more detail before it happens. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it useful and make the most out of the energies available for you in November, and I will see you guys before the 29th of November to discuss how to best navigate the energies that will be available in December. Thank you for listening, and enjoy your November. Bye bye.